Oh, okay. So we are past 7 o'clock. I'm trying to keep my eye on this my name's Sam Gordon. I'm chairing the meeting tonight, which is I don't usually do this. So I'm filling in. I used to do it a while ago. So welcome to Center City Residents Association Zoning Committee. CCRA is a 75-year-old nonprofit civics association. As a nonprofit, we encourage everyone to become a member, which it can easily be done through our website. There are several benefits to being a member, one of which is being notified of all proposed zoning changes within your area. CCRA is a registered community organization, RCO, in our area. Our boundaries are from South Street to JFK, Broad Street to the Schuylkill River. Our committee works as follows. First, the applicants are to present. We ask applicants to express specific refusals or referrals. We ask for no interruption as the applicants give their full presentation. After the presentation, the zoning committee will have a chance to ask questions. After the zoning commission's questions are complete, we open the meeting to community. When addressed, we ask that you state your name and address. We ask that you keep your questions succinct to the variance being discussed. We also ask that people not repeat others' questions. If you agree with someone's position, you're welcome to simply state that you agree. If there's a spokesperson for neighbors, we ask that person to speak for the group. After we hear from all the applicants and listen to community comments, our committee meets in closed session. We vote in one of three ways: oppose, not to oppose, not to oppose with provisos. CCRA never votes in favor of any application. Our decision will be emailed to the council person, the ZBA, and the applicant, also posted on the CCRA website. Important, no matter how we decide, if you are concerned with this project, we strongly recommend that you attend the ZBA hearing. This is the best way to make your voice known. CCRA committee cannot express a neighbor's point of view. Only property owners or aggrieved individuals may express their personal concerns to the ZBA. Just to follow up on my own for that. So ZBA Zoning Board of Adjustment, CCRA makes a recommendation that we talked about: oppose, not oppose, or not oppose with the provisos. But the final decision will be made by the ZBA, not by us. So if you're a community member, if you're a neighbor, just know that we give a recommendation. We don't have the final word. The ZBA has the final word. So we have two cases tonight. The first one we're going to hear is 2108 Spruce, application for the erection of an addition, enclosure under deck, and erection of stairs to an existing deck for the continued use of a single family household. The refusal is for the stairs to the deck. The stairs from ground level to the deck are permitted, except in the case of attached buildings where the steps from the ground to the deck are prohibited. Maximum occupied area shall be 75%, whereas the plans propose 81.1%. Okay, now I'm looking for the architect who I spoke to earlier today.
Yep,
There you are. Okay, Kevin. And I'm sorry, I haven't done this for a little while, so I got to allow Kevin to share screen. Sorry. Kevin already started sharing his screen. Good for Kevin.
Sam, is there a lawyer for this or just the architect?
Kevin, is there a lawyer presenting or are you the sole presenter?
We're not hearing you.
Kevin, I can't hear you.
Is he muted?
It's not muted, but we're not hearing him.
Kevin, we can't hear you.
And you don't seem to be muted
Hey
either.
guys, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Now we can hear you.
I think it was just a Bluetooth issue. No, I am the sole presenter tonight. We do not have any attorneys with us.
Okay, Kevin, you can present.
Okay, fantastic. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time tonight. As Sam mentioned, I'll just jump right in. We are asking for 2 variance requests. The first is to add a stair from the first floor deck down to grade at the rear yard, which is permitted in every other building typology except for those that are attached, right? We're at 2108 Spruce. It is a brownstone house. These townhomes are all attached, and therefore L&I has flagged it and are requiring a variance for us to secure that. The second one, I don't necessarily agree with the way L&I has flagged or worded this one. What we are looking to do is simply to provide a fencing panel to create a visual screen underneath that same deck. The intent is just to cover up the existing framing and rough structural members that are underneath in order to provide a more finished space for the client. So I'll show you some photos of what that space looks like and what we would intend to do. Just to be clear, we are not designing that for any form of enclosure or to create an occupied area. We're not insulating it, waterproofing it, doing anything else necessary to make that occupied area. So while the city may be rejecting it under those particular grounds, we do take exception with the way that they are classifying the refusal. So diving in our site, I'm sure the CCRA, everybody is familiar with this. We're between the 21st and 22nd block of Spruce Street. However, the area that is affected by this variance, despite the address, is actually on Cypress Street. So you can't, due to the nature of the 4-story townhomes, you can't see anything from Spruce Street, 21st or 22nd. And as a matter of fact, as we'll get into in a moment, you really can't see anything from Cypress Street either due to the garages. The properties that I'm showing with the blue dots are the ones where if you stand on the deck of 2108 Spruce Street, you can physically see these adjacent 5 properties on either side all have stairs from their decks in the rear yard down to the grade, as is very common in this neighborhood. We're not asking for any extraordinary circumstances here. We're not asking to build anything out of the ordinary. And as a matter of fact, prior to demolishing the degrading, decrepit deck that was there previously, the neighbors had a stair from their rear deck down to the yard. Or sorry, the client had a stair. We're just looking to replace what was there previously. Although I will contest that the footprint has enlarged slightly. So this is a site plan from Spruce Street. This is the townhome as it exists now. And then this is all the way through the back lot to Cypress Street. We have a garage located. Actually, this is enlarged. So we have a garage the full width of the property. There's a small seating area, walking area. And then this area post-shade in gray is the back of the townhome. This is the kitchen. And then here is the deck that was constructed as part of a previous permit. The stair is the part we're looking to add today. And then we also, this dashed line that I'm showing underneath this area is where we would like to extend the fencing panel. I believe underneath the deck is like 4.5 feet, something like that. You cannot walk under there. You cannot occupy that area. You can do nothing with it. That is the area we are looking to enclose. So we have significant vegetation planting on either side of our neighbors. We're not looking to become a nuisance. We do not want to be an eyesore to anybody. And as a matter of fact, as I can show you with these existing conditions photos, you cannot see this space. So this is looking northwest on Cypress Street. The townhome in question is this one with the black bay here. You'll see through the wall of garages, gates, and every other parking apparatus, there is no way to see the rear deck unless you are 16 feet tall. So this is looking the other direction, going northeast on Cypress Street. Again, wall of garages, no way to view this from the public in any way, shape, or form. If we go into the actual yard, so number 3 and then number 4, looking at the deck, I put this photo in here to be very transparent, okay? We told the landscaping contractor that the intent was to put stairs in there. The general contractor did all the framing for the deck. When the landscaping contractor came in to do this very nice fence and podium and everything else, they did not understand that they were not supposed to build the stair. So they built the stair. So it is now there as an existing condition. It was not on the permits. And if we secure the variance, we do intend to go through the proper process of getting a new building permit to get it documented correctly, inspected, and everything else. I assure you it is built correctly. And then the last photo is just from the side. You can see the view of what they're looking at are just these exposed posts and then all of the rough framing. We're looking for a better aesthetic. That's really the goal here. That's all we want to do. The fence panel on the back of the garage and this 6-foot cedar fence between the neighbors is the same thing that we would like to wrap underneath the deck. And as a matter of fact, it will be one-sided. We are not looking to do it on both sides. It is not a solid wall of any form. It's just something for visual screening and obscurity. I saw there were some drawings required. This is the site section. It is fairly flat once you get down. The rear of the first house is up here. From the top of the deck down to the bottom, underneath the deck is about 4.5 feet. So that's where our staircase will be. And then this screening will match the fence panel so that we are creating a consistent, cohesive aesthetic for the rest of the design. And then this is an elevation looking at the back of the house. Here is our bay with the newly installed door, or newly replaced doors, I should say. The deck where the stair is located, and then just showing the very simple screening element going around everything. So just pull this back up. Again, I want to reiterate, as I've mentioned multiple times, we are not looking to create additional lot area. I think L&I is saying that if you, for example, if we were creating a screened-in porch and there was accessible space, then they would consider it part of the principal building. We don't necessarily agree with that interpretation, obviously, because you can't do anything in a 4.5-foot space. So are there any questions I can answer, additional information I can provide? I'm happy to be a resource in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, well, we're going to go through the committee members. I'm just going to do it in the order that it's showing up on my screen. And as I say that, they're jumping around. Okay, Ben Weinrob.
No questions, thank you.
Okay, Ben Zuckerman,
No questions.
Bob Lane,
No questions.
Doug Melton,
No questions.
Karen M. Are you a committee member, Karen?
Yes, I am. No questions.
Okay. Jacob,
No questions, thanks.
have I missed any other committee members?
Charles Robin, no questions, thank you.
Here you go, CR. Yeah, you had your own name there. Okay. There we go. Are there any neighbors or community members that would like to speak about this?
See,
Hello.
I think we got Joyce Lee's a new zoning committee member.
Oh, Joyce Lee.
Yes, please excuse my ignorance. I'm just trying to understand from the 75% to 81%, that increase in square footage, is it the deck area or you actually extend the building envelope?
Thank you, Joyce. That is a great question. And allow me just a second. This is not included in the exhibits, but just for simplicity, I wanted to have this code reference at hand. This is from Title 14 of Philadelphia Zoning Code. And this is the first section.
Somebody has something on and we can't, that's talking that.
There's an open mic.
Somebody's got an open mic somewhere. I think it's gone now.
Down
Okay.
better now, yeah. So this first section, 146044D.1, that is this section here. I think what L&I is doing, and the reason they are stating that it's an increased occupied area, is accordance with this section. It says if it is enclosed with walls below the deck, they are considering it to be part of the principal building. Again,
Well, let
we're
me
not
just
putting-
clarify, Kevin. It's the deck is what they're talking about. You're not making
Yes.
the
No, we are
any bigger.
The principal building itself is staying exactly as its current footprint. We are not extending in any way, shape, or form. They are simply lumping in the deck and considering it occupied area if we put a fence underneath it.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
second question is, the extension of stairs to the deck. When the code was established, is it an aesthetic issue or is it a safety issue?
You know, we don't know. The surmising is that they put that in place to prohibit people from illegally duplexing their townhouses. So you always have an alley in order to secure a second means of egress in Philadelphia. And oftentimes what was happening back in the day was people would build these decks off their second floor and put a stair down to the alley. And then they would have first floor is one unit, second floor is another unit, and they were illegally duplexing them. There's no documentation to indicate that specifically, but that's just my surmising of it. Otherwise, I cannot understand what would prohibit this particular property from getting a stair 5 feet to grade.
Joyce, any more questions? You're muted, Joyce, but if you don't have any more questions, that's fine.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from neighbors or community members? Okay, Kevin, thank you for your concise presentation. We will talk about this in a closed session afterwards and get back to you.
Sounds good. Thank you all for your time. If you need to reach me for any reason, feel free to give me a call, email. I'll be available to help.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I'll jump off. Thank
Okay.
you.
Good job, everyone. Okay, next case is 2215 Rittenhouse Square Street. Application for erection of a roof deck at the third floor facing Latimer Street to an existing attached building for the use of a single-family dwelling. The roof setback is why they've been denied their zoning. Roof deck must be 5 feet setback from the front building line, whereas the proposed roof deck has 0 feet setback from the building line. Who is going to be presenting this and who's here for this project?
I am. My name is Jeffrey Malins. I'm the homeowner.
Okay. And are you going to present?
I will. I apologize in advance. My presentation isn't going to be as polished as Kevin's,
Hey.
but I will try my best here. So let's see. Oh, I think my 1 second, my Zoom was not set up to share. I'm gonna have to leave this meeting and come back in order to share my
Okay.
screen.
Just
Okay,
real
so
quickly, I'll let you in.
Okay.
I will just,
I'm just waiting. Up there he is. Okay.
Okay, let me give this a try now. Share. Can you see my
Yeah.
screen?
Yes.
All right, so this is the single family that lives in the home. My wife, Jen, and our now 7-month-old baby. This is us at the Fittler Square Halloween party.
Okay.
So the proposal is, here is our unit, 2215 Rittenhouse Square. The deck is exposed to Latimer Street. The actual deck is going to be built on our second floor, on top of our second floor. And the proposal is to build out to the building line here, which is itself set back 5 feet from the property line on Latimer Street. What the city is asking is that there be a 5-foot setback from the building line here, so that would be a line at about this point. The case I'm making is that, number one, there are many decks, including our immediate neighbors, that on Latimer Street that have no setback. So 2213, which is essentially has the exact same rear building line as us, has a deck that's built all the way to the back, but it's a floor higher. Ours is proposed to be here on top of the second story. 2217 on the opposite side has a 4th floor, and their deck is built all the way back to the building line with no setback. Here's a different view of our home, 2213, and then 2211 also has a deck with no setback to the building line. And if we continue down the street, 2207 has a setback building, but the deck is built up to the back. 2219 also has a deck that is built right on the building line. And likewise, 2223 Latimer is built to the building line. My understanding of reading the regulation is that the setback is required for the front face of the building, and they're considering the rear of our homes along Latimer Street to be front faces. That's my only guess as to sort of where the regulation comes from. Some of the mitigating factors, I think, are that our deck in particular is 1 floor or 2 floors lower than anyone else on our street. So there really isn't any sight line at all to the deck other than from these 5 properties across from us. So our immediate neighbors. If you're on Latimer Street and you're looking, you can't see our deck at all because it's obscured by larger buildings that build all the way out to the property line on either side. So here is the and part of the reason why we are challenging this is that if the deck was set back 5 feet, it would, so imagine kind of a line not too far from this dimension mark. We have an existing chimney that we're not removing, so it really would make this part of the deck unusable, which is why I'm attempting to learn how to do this process and asking for your consideration. I have talked to many of my neighbors, the ones I can get in touch with. This Alexandra is actually 2218. She signed in the wrong spot. So the only sort of missing ones are 2210 and 2212, but all of the sites you can see here, I have signatures for that they support this. And many of them have, equivalent decks with no setback. And this is sort of the, in the signature sheet, I kind of walked everyone through, what we would challenge from the city is this extra 5 feet here.
Jeff, can you just show the floor plan, the plan from above of the deck, with the steps?
Yes, hold on. Zoom put a. So this is kind of a more detailed view of
the top view.
The top view.
Yeah.
Does this have top?
There we go.
Here.
Zoom in there.
Yes.
Okay. So just what I wanted people to see is that because of how it the roof works into a change in elevation, there are steps leading when you go out the door, the deck is eaten up by some steps getting up to it.
Yes, that's a great.
Zoom in right onto that
Yeah.
middle plan.
Um,
Okay. There you go.
so yeah, and then you can kind of see also up here in this part of the corner. So in order to fit, we have some wide steps. So actually the deck doesn't start until about this line. So with the setback, it would really be quite small, and the area on the other side of the chimney would be very hard to use. So having no setback kind of lets us have more usable space.
I think that
Thank
gives
you,
us a
Sam.
clear understanding. Can we start asking questions, Jeff?
Please.
Okay, Doug,
No, no questions.
Ben Weinrob,
No questions. Thank you.
Ben Zuckerman,
None, thank you.
Bob Lane,
No questions. Good presentation. Thank you.
Charles Robin.
Just two questions, please. What's the square footage of the deck?
What's the difference?
So let's see. So 1710 by 1011. So let's call that 11 by 18.
11 by 18,
Like roughly 200 square foot little.
200 square foot. And my second question, please, 2213 Rittenhouse Square Street, is that a single family home?
It is, yes.
Okay, and I would feel that would be the most directly impacted, and they have a non-opposition, is that correct?
They have an I support. So yes, non-opposition.
Thank you.
Okay, after Charles Robin, Jacob,
No questions.
Joyce,
We're off mute. You had mentioned that your neighbors all had their decks grandfathered. Do you have a sense of when they were erected? I would imagine that it is before the law was put in place.
I'd suspect that. Everyone, so they've been here for 2 years. 2213 has been here for 6 years. The decks were there when both of them moved in. That's all I know.
Okay, thank you.
okay, sorry, just looked away. Any other committee members? I haven't, Karen,
Yeah, you're gonna be leaving the chimney there. What are you gonna be doing around that chimney so it stays, so it's from a safety perspective, since you have a baby?
That is a good question. I mean, the deck is going to be built completely surrounding the chimney, so there shouldn't be a gap, but we will make sure it's baby safe. It's like we're learning how to baby safe everything. Do you
Okay.
have any suggestions?
No, I just know kids can get into everything, and so I just was asking the question.
chimney by
He's-
code needs to be 10 feet above, anything, actually 3 feet above anything, 10 feet around it, but I'm sure they'll make it higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's quite.
So no
Quite
kid as they
high.
get older can climb it.
Well, they can.
Oh,
That's a little beyond our purview.
Right.
I mean, razor wire, is that to code? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Any other committee members I have not called on? Okay, do we have any neighbors that would like to speak? Terry and Mark Steinberg.
Hello, and hi, Jeff. We haven't met, but I'm your across the street neighbor. We have been here since well, actually, we've been here since 2013. And so I can answer the question about the existing decks. They predated the new code, which came into place about 2014, I believe, maybe 2015. In any case, I had exactly, my address, by the way, is 2212 Rittenhouse Square. I am across the street from Jeff. So I guess I'm sorry, 2210. I don't know my own address. So I guess you didn't you didn't request the neighbors across the street to be involved in this process. But I experienced when we did an extensive renovation prior to moving in 2015, the same exact question came up. It was the 5-foot setback. In our case, it was on Manning Street, which was seen as the front of the building, just as your Latimer Street is. So the new code, and I say new code in 2015, did not consider the front or back of buildings. If it was accessible to the street, it was it had to fall within the zoning configurations. And I guess my question is the following. Why does it's a rhetorical question to some degree, and that is, why does zoning exist? If we think it exists to preserve open space and to preserve rain drainage and other things of that nature, then just as I had to comply with my 5-foot setback and I figured out a way to make it work, then should not everyone do the same? And while I have no real personal opinion, as a neighbor, I don't actually see the back street of Latimer except when I walk my dog. But I think it's actually it's a philosophical point and a point of precedent. So the other decks were grandfathered because they existed before the new zoning code. If they need to be repaired, they too will have to follow the 5-foot setback. And my question is, shouldn't everyone do it unless there is some important design element? And I don't consider having too small a deck an important design element, but if there was some important design element that needed to be considered. And to some degree, I bring my own perspective, which is I had to change my plans. That 5-foot really mattered a lot to me, and I won't go into why, but I chose not to request a zoning variance because the code exists for a reason, and it was open space and rain drainage. And I think that I think we should follow the guidelines of zoning, or maybe we shouldn't have zoning in this regard.
Okay. So I understand your point, and we'll take it into consideration when we discuss it among ourselves.
Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you for adding. I see some other people that haven't spoken. Are there other neighbors that would like to speak on behalf of this project, oppose or in favor? Seeing Alex, you're just observing?
Yeah, sure. My name is Alex Roeder. I live at 412 South Carlisle Street. I come to these meetings to observe. I think this is a very reasonable ask for a.
You're not directly impacted.
I am not directly impacted.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else from the neighborhood that would like to speak? Okay. So Jeff, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for for Alex and the Steinbergs for attending. And we're now going to go into our closed session and discuss this. Also, I want if you are concerned and you want to have your voice heard with the people that make the final decision, that would be the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Let me just make sure we only have who we want. I think we're good.
And
Now I'm supposed to stop recording, right?
correct.
There we go.